Before anything else, if you truly follow Manchester City, if you live every match, every Pep decision, and every behind-the-scenes move, drop a like now and check that you're subscribed. It helps the channel massively to keep bringing you the information, analysis, and updates that really matter for true citizens. Manchester City are entering another delicate, decisive moment in the season, with the January window in full swing, pressure for results, and a squad being pushed to the limit, especially in defense. In recent days, the name Marc Guehi has gathered momentum again in conversations, headlines, and, of course, among supporters. It's not new that City have been watching the Crystal Palace center-back, but the current context gives this rumor a completely different weight. Injuries have changed the picture. Pep Guardiola has been forced to improvise, rotate personnel, and tweak the defensive setup almost game after game. That wears the squad down, increases the risk of further physical issues, and calls the team's stability into question at precisely the stage when every point and every match count a lot. It's no exaggeration to say that defense has become City's most sensitive area at this point in the season. Against that backdrop, Pep was asked once again about the transfer market. And, as has become his trademark, the answer was cool, brief, and without any hint of public excitement. He said he doesn't know whether more players will arrive, and that he can't answer that right now. No clues, no confirmation, no definitive denial. For anyone who's followed City for years, that's no surprise. If anything, it's exactly what you'd expect. Guardiola rarely lays his cards on the table in press conferences, even when negotiations are well advanced behind the scenes. What's clear is that City are trying to balance two needs that don't always go hand in hand, solving an immediate problem while not compromising long-term planning. Panic buying has never been the club's style. That's why the profile of a player like Marc Guehi makes so much sense. He's young, already adapted to the Premier League, has leadership, reads the game well, and fits the build-up model Pep demands from his center-backs. Even so, it doesn't depend only on City. Crystal Palace know exactly what they have, and they won't make it easy. On top of that, other clubs are watching the market and could enter the race at any moment, which would completely change the pace of talks. If a direct rival makes a concrete move, City could be forced to speed up decisions that, under normal circumstances, would be taken with more patience. Meanwhile, the club have sent a clear signal that they're prepared to act. The signing of Antoine Semeno was made official and surprised a lot of people, not because of the name itself, but because of how quickly everything happened. Announced one day, starting the next. That shows that when City decide, things happen in a direct and decisive way. And Semeno's debut couldn't have been more impactful. In a crushing 10-1 win over Exeter City in the FA Cup, he scored, assisted, and showed personality from the first minute. It's important to put it in context. The level of the opponent doesn't change the fact that coming in with that intensity, that confidence, and that clarity of decision-making says a lot about the player. City had been struggling in attack in recent matches, frustrating draws, difficulty turning dominance into goals, and an increasingly obvious dependence on Erling Haaland. Semeno's arrival changes that dynamic. He offers depth, aggression, pressing without the ball, and the ability to make quick decisions in the final third, something the team had been needing. Pep didn't hesitate to start him straight away. He lined up on the left, operating alongside Haaland and other youngsters and rotation players in an attacking setup that gave the opponent no chance to breathe. Semeno's behavior stood out. He attacked space, came to the ball, pressed center-backs, and showed an impressive naturalness for someone wearing the City shirt for the first time. His goal came calmly, showing composure in the box. The assist was even more symbolic because it revealed game intelligence and quick chemistry with his teammates. It wasn't forced. It was the right decision at the right time. Exactly the kind of action Guardiola values. After the match, the praise didn't stay in the stands. Pepijn Lijnders, who was on the touchline, publicly highlighted the new signing's intensity and energy, stressing how quickly he absorbed the team's ideas. Rico Lewis also spoke about Semeno's immediate impact, making it clear the group already trust what he can deliver. That reinforces a very important point. Semeno isn't arriving as a future punt. He's coming in ready to contribute now. He's a Premier League player, tested, competitive, and hungry for trophies. He chose Manchester City for precisely that reason, and that mentality showed immediately on debut. With the attack gaining new options and the defense still on alert because of injuries, City remain attentive to the market. The feeling is that the club are putting the pieces together carefully, but without ignoring the urgency of the moment. Every decision taken now can define the direction of the season. Looking at the full picture, it's clear Manchester City are living through one of those fine-tuning moments that separate good seasons from historic ones. Antoine Semeno's immediate impact has brought fresh energy to the squad and shaken up the attacking hierarchy, but it doesn't erase the doubts and concerns still hovering over the defense. Joško Guardiola's injury isn't just another short-term issue. It exposes the vulnerability of a unit that had been held together more by collective organization than by an abundance of options. That's exactly why City have been linked with other defensive names in the market again. One of the names gaining more traction recently is Charlie Cresswell, currently at Toulouse. At first glance, he may not be a name that instantly grabs the average supporter, but when you analyze the profile, the path, and the context, the interest starts to make sense. Cresswell is 23, has a solid English grounding, and a career path that hasn't been linear at all. Coming through the Leeds United Academy, he broke into the first team early, still a teenager, during a difficult period for the club, with injuries and heavy competitive pressure. Even so, he showed personality and the ability to compete physically at a high level from a very young age. The real leap in his career happened when he went on loan to Millwall. There, away from the Premier League spotlight, he found continuity, rhythm, and confidence. Playing week after week in the Championship, he became a defensive reference point, put up impressive numbers in duels won and aerial battles, and contributed goals too, something always valued in modern center-backs. When he returned to Leeds, the scenario had changed. With a new manager and different priorities, his space in the squad simply vanished. Rather than accept a secondary role, Cresswell made a risky decision, but an extremely mature one for his age, leaving England and betting on League One, signing for Toulouse. That choice proved decisive. In France, he didn't just get minutes, he developed technically. He improved his passing out from the back, his positioning, and his reading of the game. In his first season, he was an undisputed starter, helped the club reach their best campaign in more than a decade, and also drew attention internationally, playing an important role for England's under-21s as they became European champions again. This season, his growth has been even more evident. Cresswell has played every minute of League One so far and leads key defensive metrics, especially in duels won. That kind of consistency doesn't go unnoticed, and it's no surprise clubs like Manchester City, Liverpool, and Newcastle are keeping a close eye on the situation. For City, though, it isn't only about talent. There's a bigger calculation behind it. The squad already has several young defenders, and academy players are also being called up to cover emergencies. On top of that, there's the projection of Guardiola's return later on, which would completely change the landscape in that area of the pitch. Signing someone now would mean leaning into an even younger defensive group at a time of intense competitive pressure. On the other hand, waiting could mean losing a market opportunity, especially if other clubs move with concrete offers. That's the kind of dilemma City face in January. The contrast between the two areas of the pitch is obvious. In attack, Semeno's arrival has brought immediate impact, renewed confidence, and new solutions. In defense, the club are still weighing risks, costs, and timing. And all of this is happening while the team continue fighting in the Premier League, in the Cups, and trying to stay alive on every front. What's clear is that Manchester City are not standing still. Even when Pep downplays things publicly, the behind-the-scenes work continues. The club observe, analyze, and prepare to act when they believe the moment is right. Semeno's signing proved that. Once the decision was made, everything moved quickly. Now the question is whether the same will happen in defense. Whether City will genuinely push for a name like Marc Guéhi, whether they'll look more closely at Charlie Cresswell's situation, or whether they'll trust internal solutions until the injured players return. Any of those choices will have a direct impact on the run-in. For supporters, it brings that familiar feeling of expectation and tension. Every press conference, every match, and every rumor carries more weight. That's the price of supporting a club that competes for everything and can't afford to get it wrong. If you've made it this far, drop a like on the video and check your subscribe to the channel. It helps a lot to keep bringing you all the Manchester City news, analysis, and behind-the-scenes updates. And comment as well. What do you think about these possible moves? And what decision would you make in the club's position? Your participation makes all the difference.